Why is your hair? Well, first of all, welcome to episode 37 of the OpTic podcast. Your usual host, OpTic Hex, the man, the myth, the legend, 37-year-old phenom. And across from me, we have some very interesting characters. And I'm going to ask you why you're wearing what you're wearing. We have
Zabutin, Thomas Yassen, head coach for League of Legends team.
And I'm Matthew Acadian Higginbotham. I play jungle for the League of Legends team.
Say the middle part again.
Matthew Acadian Higginbotham.
Okay. I thought you said the whole thing.
No.
All right. So why? Well, I know why, but tell the people at home why you're wearing.
That's Romain's idea, actually. Romain, the head general manager for League of Legends.
Mm-hmm.
He can't help himself doing weird things. So the idea was, instead of doing a regular announcement with pictures with crossed arms, we're going to do kind of weird shit where we're all wearing costumes and making a Christmas picture that should be already displayed and front page ready the time the podcast will be released. And right now we're waiting for the picture, so we're waiting our costumes.
So as soon as after this is done, we're gonna go do the picture announcement for the League of Legends roster. The concept, as you guys know by now, is pretty much I'm in a Santa Claus suit. I don't know where Captain America comes in with his bling bling, and then Einstein because you're putting it all together, and then you're using something like that, right?
I try to extract the Korean, the Korean essence from the Korean players,
Yes.
Because that's how they win. They have something special. So I have to figure out what.
I can't explain that, and you as a professional player will do a better job at this. So you play legal. Obviously, they play League of Legends. You play League of Legends. What position do you play? Jungle. Okay, so maybe you can answer this because, and I asked this every single pro player that's in this podcast is, what is it, right? Because as Call of Duty players, we can't understand what it is that makes us better than the rest of the world, right? In League of Legends, you have the same sort of thing happening. This sort of natural event where the Koreans are ultimately better. What is it? Is it training? What is it in League of Legends that does it? Because I can tell you what it is in America.
Yeah, I think so. Everyone has their own opinion. I think my opinion just over time, and I've been to Korea twice for boot camps last year, and I just experienced the culture, experienced their solo queue over there, stuff like that. I think it's just a mix. Actually, I think it's just mostly a culture, American culture, at least North America. A lot of the players, especially a lot of players in high elo, they're still playing the game for fun, even if they're in Challenger, Diamond, Master tier. And if you're playing in Korea and you're not trying very hard, just taking the game easy, enjoying yourself, right, you're gonna be instantly flamed by everyone. You're gonna have people telling you mom die or something like that. Just really really toxic to you instantly because everybody's trying super hard to win. So I think there's just a big culture difference in Korea and America, or Korea versus America and Europe. So
that's weird. Even the insult that you just said kind of shows the cultural differences, right? It's here in America, they say something way, I don't know if it's way worse than your mom dying, but they don't say your mom died. They say, I was with your mom.
Yeah.
You're American?
Yeah.
I'm French.
French, obviously. Cool. Just wanted to establish that because when you're talking, you're going to make sure they say, well, can you say that? Yes, you can. You have a pass. Right? You have certain passes.
Okay.
I think so too. I think the level of seriousness that the Koreans have in comparison to what we have here in America is exactly what you said. People there take winning and their craft so seriously that they get up every morning and try to be the best at it. Right? There's never any days off, and there's never any time to take it easy. And this is just something that's known, and it's not just in video games. It's their cultural essence. And I know obviously this is a different part of Asia, the different countries, so please don't think that I'm saying what I'm saying. But one of the things that I saw in a movie called The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise, and obviously again a different part of the world. I understand that we're not talking about Korea. I just want to clear that up because I don't want it, I don't want it to be one of those situations where Mexicans, grew up in, they in agriculture did this, and then immediately there you're like Puerto Ricans. So there's two different people, and I understand that. But they say how when they wake up, they practice their craft every single day until they're perfected. And even when it's perfected, they feel like it still could be better. And I think that's one of the main edges that they have on our culture. The fact that we don't impose this sort of seriousness when it comes to being the best at anything, and there's this sort of like laid back like issue that we're running into. The give a medal for participation to everyone mentality. Do they do that in France? Do they?
I think it's more like Western and Eastern culture, because I think in Europe we have the same struggle as the American when it's about league, and I actually think that it's. I think you're both right about this. I think it's a cultural difference. I'd say like West is about everybody gets a medal. It's this culture, and Korea is more like no one gets a medal except the first one. There is no silver medal in Korea. Either you're the best, either you're just like rooting for being the best.
Yeah.
And that's what makes such a concentration of talents. And the thing is, I think what makes the West good at what we are good at, for instance, I don't know, big companies like making phones, inventing new things, is we are actually very creative. And that's what makes us good in business, in any kind of fields. And I think in this very specific area of esports, which is League of Legends, it's not about being creative. Everybody knows what's good, and you have to be the perfect at what's good.
Yeah.
And that's like this game has been designed for Asian people, and especially Koreans, for them to be good at the game, because it's more about discipline than being creative or inventing new things.
Yeah.
You know what's good, and you try hard to be the best at what you should be good at, and that's it.
Yeah. I think and I'm not talking smack to my parents, but I think that I feel kind of robbed that I wasn't brought up with that sort of like strict rules and, you know, growing up, because I think that that's something that sort of structure is something that everybody should have, because it promotes, you know, one, self-awareness, confidence in your ability that, you know, you are trying the best that you can do at one specific thing. So I don't know, I think we have a lot to learn from them, because it's definitely a cultural difference that I think they're winning, you know. And I find, as a parent, I find myself doing that as well. I have an 8-year-old daughter, Olivia's her name, and I'm really like strict with things, and then her mom, my wife, is super laid back with stuff, right? Like she's a kid, like calm down, don't be so strict. And I'm like, yeah, but you know how, for example, yesterday we were playing pool, billiards, right? And I was telling her like the form, like, you know, do this 3 steps and then you get into this form. You hold the cue stick, you do 1, that way you can have your arm, and Jude, my wife, is sitting there, it's like, why are you going this deep into this? Why can't you just like have fun with her? And I'm like, I want to have fun with her, but I also want her to take it seriously, because it is. So anyway, bringing it all back, it is because you think it's the cultural difference of that. And this is the podcast, this podcast, the rant podcast, because it literally will start here, go over there, and then find its way here. Anyway, let's get back to some more questions. When did you start? How old are you now?
20.
20. When did you start playing League of Legends?
12.
When you were 12 years old. Man, and every day has been that's been your thing.
No. I just I started playing when I was 12, and I just played it really casually until I was 16. Like I just played normal games. I didn't really try to play ranked or get better or anything. I was just having fun with my friends. And then when I was 16, that's when the LCS started to get like more popular, and I saw people were playing League of Legends professionally, and I hated school, so I was just like, I just want to try really hard with League, see if I can get good, because I'd love to do that for a job. Yeah. So I've been trying hard since I was like 16 and a half maybe at League. So it's 8 years total, but like 4 years of, you know, trying to play every day, trying to play as much as I can, improve, etc. Right.
So let me ask you this, because there has to be a million kids in your position that at your age decided that, or want to make the difference, want to make the decision of, you know, I hate school and I'd rather be doing this for a living. You know, at what point, because you don't know, you know, going professional, you don't know. You can try your chops against everybody else as much as you want, but it isn't until proven competition comes that you really know whether or not you're going to make it. And then you go through the process of, am I good enough to fit in this mix of guys, or am I good enough to fit with this team instead, or do I start a team? So it's not an easy thing to become what you have become. So, you know, at what point did you say, all right, this is it. I think I'm good enough? Did you win a whole bunch of stuff and then were like, you know what, I could leave school right now and then do this, because school is always going to be the education, the American education, if that's what you even want to call it, it's always going to be there, you know. But this is something, you know, an opportunity of a lifetime, especially if you have the chops for it, because not everybody has it.
I would just say, so I've gotten this question, like I've streamed in the past, and I've gotten the question a lot, where it's like, hey, Acadian, I really want to try to go pro or something like that. And they ask me, I guess, what they should look for or something like that. And I always say what I did was I saw the LCS, right? I saw that people were doing it as a job, and I was in silver in ranked. Like I played like 12 games total. I was in silver, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try to get better, but it's not like I ramped up the amount of time I was playing because I had kind of strict parents. So I wasn't able to play all the time, especially because I think if I had tried harder in school and just gotten A's and B's, they would have been fine with me playing a lot. But I don't know.
You know, it's crazy. That's what I tell the kids. They come and say, hey, how can I tell my parents to let me play more? I'm like, why don't they let you play? And then they're like, well, I have bad grades. So I'm like, then get good grades and play. And they're like,
get good grades, do your chores.
Do your chores. Yeah. Well, get over that obstacle. You're putting that same, you know what the problem is. Remove the problem.
Yeah, but when you're a kid, I feel like now it's very obvious to me because I just got older, I suppose. But it's very obvious. It's just like, yeah, they wanted you to do this stuff. Just do the stuff and then you're fine. But when I was younger, it's like, I have to do all this thing, like all these things. I have to do my homework. Like it's too hard. It's never going to happen, you know. But yeah, what I'd say, I just think with me, when I hit Challenger, which is the top 200 in North America, when I hit Challenger rank, that's when I thought, I don't even think you should consider going pro if you can't hit Challenger. Like, you shouldn't even because Challenger, most pros are, okay, a lot of North American pros or just pros from other regions could get like, if they played often in North American solo queue, they played, you know, every time they could, most pros could get like top 20, I think. So if you can't even hit Challenger, you should not even consider, I think, trying to go pro.
Yeah.
But once you do, I think it just requires you to all in. Like if you really want to try to go, you know, into the LCS and you want to try to completely become a professional, you have to, in my opinion, if you hit Challenger, you have to drop everything, learn, you know, the like lifestyle that everyone leads. You have to join teams, figure out, because the solo queue game and the competitive game are very, very, very different. So. Of course. You basically like get to the top of solo queue and then you gotta all in, start competitive, like start playing on teams, and then you're just down here again. You're literally a bronze player in competitive games. So
do you have any?
Yeah, my life is kind of different because like I come from France and the audience is kind of small because like we just have French speaking people, and I was a commentator and like I couldn't drop my job because being commentator is not paid enough for living, for instance, in Paris because I come from Paris. So I had to do both at the same time. And I did my whole esport career, like working at night. That's it. So I just couldn't sleep. And I was working the day and I was just going back home and I worked like my ass off and I didn't take weekends and I didn't take holidays for like 4 years in a row until I actually had an opportunity to work in esports. So I'd say, like, if I had an advice to give to the young people that want to work in esports, not only players, but like in the esport industry, there is very few spots and a lot of people that want to work in it. Yeah. So I'd say, like, at least secure some like basics, so high school degree. I won't say college because I don't know how college works. For instance, in France it's free, so it's easy to say secure college. But I know that in the US it's more expensive. But at least secure. It's
extortion.
Yeah, I think it is, but I don't want to like speak about something I don't actually know. Yeah. I would say just put yourself in a position where you can be risk taker, meaning that you can drop everything for 1 or 2 years, saying I'm going to try to go pro or I'm going to live from esports, and if it fails, just come back and you just wasted. You didn't waste it because you always meet people, you met network, and you learn things. Yeah. But actually, you can go back and go to college because you actually have at least a high school degree. Yeah. So never drop school until you have something that actually allows you to keep going the normal way afterwards. Because no one should be pro, and like there is a huge part of luck as well. Because like I think for Matthew, for me, for everybody, we had a chance to prove ourselves in what we do. Yeah. And sometimes you're just good, but you don't have this chance within the time span you allowed yourself to try for being an esports professional. Sometimes it just doesn't happen, and you're actually good. You have all the required talent to be, I don't know, pro player or even content creator, you know. And at the end of the day, like you're not highlighted on YouTube, you have to stop. So just go back to school. Yeah. So that's my biggest advice is just like don't drop everything.
Yeah. Don't try just.
I think
that's secure minimum. Drop everything once the minimum is secure.
I think maybe what I said, I didn't mean like drop everything. I just meant you have to you have to really commit. If it's what you want to do, then you have to really commit, like mentally. All the time that you spend playing the game, you have to really think about it. I think you have to, work really hard on the teams that you play on. You can't just, kind of half-ass it.
I think you were right in what you said originally, and then even in the correction. I think it's ultimately going to be up to the individual to make the decision whether or not they're going to drop everything and then go like super hard in this, or if they're just going to be something. Because when I started like doing content creation for YouTube and gaming, it was a different approach. It was something where I was working during the day, and then at night I know you're not bored of me. Don't worry, you're good. You need some more coffee?
I'm good.
Had a good night last night. Did you guys see the movie Star Wars? Yes.
Not yet.
We'll get to that.
I'm gonna see it.
So you guys are okay. Cool. So
don't spoil.
No, I haven't seen it. I'm gonna go in as soon as I'm out of here. But anyways, as I was saying before, I got into the Star Wars thing. Where do we leave off? It's up to the individual to find out to know within whether or not that's applicable to them. For me, it was a necessity thing, right? I've been doing YouTube videos after work, so I would work my 8 hours a day, and then I would sacrifice sleep and then do like an extra 6 hours of playing and getting videos, and then talking, editing, and all that stuff. So I knew that I wanted to do this, because it was my passion. Now, mind you, I did YouTube for 2 years without getting any payment because at the time there was no way to get paid off of that. Google didn't monetize individual channels, so I would go home and I would do it just so I could make a name for myself in Call of Duty at the time. So I went through like all the process of continuing to keep my job as is, right, paying my bills the same way. My life didn't change professionally. What changed was my sleeping schedule. My going out to play basketball instead of, sitting at home playing video games. So for me, it was a full-on approach of knowing what I wanted from the beginning and then just doing it until it was done. So it varies, I think. And just because you don't have the natural given talent like a professional player does, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are out of the industry. You don't get to do that. I am living proof that you don't have to be a professional player in anything to make a living within esports. So it's just identifying what, pick your top three. You want to be a professional player? That doesn't work. What do you want to do? You want to do a manager? You can manage. If not, what do you want to do? You want to sell sponsorships? Right? Like it's an endless amount of jobs in this ecosystem that you guys can do. Moving on, the announcement was just made. Tell us a bit about our process in identifying like the players that we wanted to go after, how we went after them, and
So, like building a team from scratch, this year was one of the hardest thing. Because I will speak about I think it's Romain and me, had to do in our lives because the market went super fast, and like. I'd say he knows how it works, but he was from Europe, and NA was really different this year. And I might have watched all the players from LCS the last 5 years and watched every single game. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And the thing is, usually what you do when you have already a team is just you make interviews and you try out the player. And if it does work out, you just keep him. And if it doesn't, you just leave him and you try to find another one. But this process we didn't have anything. So we started from a short list of players we would like to work with. Mm-hmm. And the triple A, the players, you can count on them because they're already proven players and so on. And we tried to reach them. And the first thing we had is it was basically throw us million in the face or we won't work for you.
Yeah.
It was the first approach of the market. The first 2 days is basically, we don't talk unless you have 1 million on the table. So it's not even possible to discuss to this point. Mm-hmm. And we thought we were because the budget we had was quite, I would say for European, it was insane. But comparing to other franchises and the fact that we don't have any assets, because one player is kind of an asset, it has a value, so you can keep it or sell it. We were one of the poorest. So we had to find a strategy where you actually reach very good talents that are not proven or completely proven yet.
Yeah.
And that was the strategy. It was taking maybe one big name and then for other players, it was to be smarter than the other teams, because I think at the end of the day, it's not like the name you put on your roster that counts. It's more like the person and the working person you put on a daily basis in your gaming house that matters.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, like Matthew had a tough year last year. Like he really showed himself at the beginning of the year, and he had a tough, I would say, because like a year of League of Legends, it's 2 splits, and the first split he did really well, and the second split was kind of hard for him. But he actually showed himself like in the first part of the year. But with franchising, everybody would just go for the most expensive jungler in the market. So yeah, Acadian, no, I'm not taking him. He was bad because I can pay 3 million for this very specific guy, and this guy is actually like the icing on the cake of my team.
Yeah,
and we didn't have this approach. I was just saying to Romain, like, let's go for Acadian, because I saw this guy and he's beast. When he's on point, he's beast. So it's up to me, it's up to you to make him back at the level he was. And like after working with this guy, because we had kind of no tryouts within the team, I'm like 200% confident that like Matthew will perform well this year, because he's just like, and players maybe you can like input on it, but like the name doesn't matter at all. It matters for the audience, it matters for the coaches.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when people are like working, and I can say that because we scream against these big names, doesn't matter at all. Like they are even. It's the way they work and they behave as a team that counts more.
There's kryptonites, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what you think about it, but I'd say that was the approach, and I'm really happy in what we had at the output. Like I'm really proud of the OpTic team.
Cool.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I mean, people like me and just anybody that comes in the scene, me, Contracts, Mike Young, Cody Sun, these people were not known before LCS, and then they play the people who are like known or whatever and just smash them, right? Because at the end of the day, I used to think, just coming from, because I literally was a fan of LCS before, right? I used to think like, oh, dude, there's no way Double Lift will lose to, I don't know, anyone, right? Like there's no way Double Lift's gonna lose to this guy because he's Double Lift. Like he's just naturally better at the game. Like you just think this way, right? When you see somebody win often, but it's not true at all. It's literally just a video game. It has rules, it has laws, etc. And then all that matters, all that people even care about. I used to think there's so much more that like people cared about or really went into it, but it's literally just a video game and it's a competition. So if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. And it doesn't matter who you are. You can lose at any time or win at any time. So
I love that, man. I love that because, all right, so I want to dive deeper into that. You need some more water? You good?
I got a second one.
I want to dive deeper into that because I there's this illusion that we create for ourselves about the people that we admire or the people that we want to be or the people that we want to compete against. And you just said it, that this sort of like veil was unveiled from this thing that you put on a pedestal, and then the second that you got there, and then you said to yourself, you know what, I'm just gonna play the man and just play my best.
I was so I mean he said like I popped off my first split, right? I did really well. I was actually, before the split started and during the split, I was just so like nervous. I was so, it was like almost afraid, like, because I'd just been watching these people play for so long. These were like, some of them were like my idols. They were just famous players, stuff like that. And then I was like, oh my, I can't believe I'm gonna play against, Rainover today or something like that. And it's this guy I've watched play for like 2 years, and I always put him on a pedestal, right? I can't believe I'm gonna play against Rainover. And then I was so, I think, like afraid that I was gonna just not belong there and not look like I belong there. I think I just I spent a lot of attention to like really, really small details, and then I just went into every game, and I kept being surprised by how many mistakes the other guy kept making. Every game, no matter who they were, I just was so surprised. And then I realized, like, first of all, nobody plays a perfect game ever. They're not like gods or something like that. You can just kill them in game, just like anybody else, So that was really interesting for me. I think just, I don't know, kind of.
And how do you feel now? Like, is there a player that you haven't played yet that when you play, you think you're gonna have that same sort of like mentality where you're like, holy shit, I've seen this guy like so long, like now I get to play against him. Like, do you think you're prepared now?
I think my mentality matured a lot in the past year just from being around for a year now. I just think I used to, that whole like name thing, right? It's the same when you're like perceived above somebody, right? Or you're just playing against a no name, right? You can play against a no name and get destroyed. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I mean, if they're a no name, usually there's like a reason for them not being really known. But if they got to the LCS, there's usually a reason for that person to get into the LCS. There's something they're good at that a team saw that picked them up for it. So, no, I don't think anymore. I think anybody can beat anybody. I don't know. I try to think it really baseline. It's just a game,
Yeah, and I think that's what I love about sports the most, man. That once you enter the arena, no matter what it is, whether basketball court or football field, or a map in a game. It doesn't matter your background. All that matters is whether or not you have the chops for it, right? It's not like in corporate America where you can get a certain job and you have an unfair advantage over somebody else because you grew up differently and you come from a different family. When both of those kids step into a basketball court and tennis court, it's just up to them. No amount of dad got me this sort of training or I didn't get this sort of training. None of that matters. It's up to your natural talent, which is why that's like the part that I romanticize about the most about sports. And I mean that in all sense of competition, not just physical sports or esports, just in competition in general. That once you're in there, everything else falls away. It's just one human versus another human brain. So that's all.
Yeah. On the top of that, I'd say that the way I because I'm a coach and I always have thought that the top sportsmen like Roger Federer or Usain Bolt, they always try to beat their opponents, and eventually year after year and reading so many books about like personal achievement and so on, you end up by thinking a completely different way. They try to reach perfection. So they're never working against anyone. Mm-hmm. They're just working on themselves to be good at something. And by being good, they beat other people. And I think this is something the investors and the managers from the teams this year in NA didn't figure out. They just paid guys that beat other guys at some point in the history of League of Legends. But what you should always look for is people that just want to get better at the game. Because in esports, there is patches, and it, especially with Call of Duty, you have a new game every year or every 2 years. So what you want is someone that is able every 2 weeks, because it's every 2 weeks we have a patch that really learn the game. And sometimes it's just from scratch because the game changes so much. Mm-hmm. So if you always find a kid that is willing to learn the game and want to be good at it on a daily basis and try his hardest, eventually he will beat other people because he will see mistakes others will do because they don't try hard enough on being good at the game. So it's just a matter of liking the game as much as you can. And I think we have a good example, like Lemonation. Everybody say he's washed up and he's old. And the thing is, when he speaks about the game, he's so passionate, and whenever he plays, he's always super focused. Mm-hmm. And let's be honest, I've seen him playing in a team, and he doesn't do he do as many mistakes as his opponent does, as the rest of the team does. So it's not a matter of age, because if you just focus on his own mistake and fix it, eventually you'll just be a better player. Yeah. So for me, it's more self-improvement than pray. The rest is stories, for media. Yeah. Just self-improvement plan,
Yeah, I think that just like anything else, the more you practice, I mean, at some point or another, the physicality will catch up to you, as you get older. But it doesn't like your reaction time is going to be there well into your 30s if that's something that you practice on a daily basis. And I think this is more true with esports because there's limited physicality to it. So I personally, at 20 years old, is that the midway or the in terms of the age average?
Yeah, 21. NALCS is definitely, I think it just used to be younger, 6 years ago. It was average younger. I think average now is probably 21, 22 age. Mm-hmm. Somewhere around there.
Well, who's the oldest, do you know?
The oldest? Lemonation.
28.
28? That's my favorite guy now. I like the old dudes. Yeah. I relate. Yeah. Yes, that's all right, cool. So what do we have next? When's our first match? Who do we play? Can we talk about that, or is that not announced?
No, we can't say. We can't say.
I like that. A lot of you are gonna get upset at that, but I personally like the fact that there's this element, there's a show that Riot is putting on that comes along with the actual sport. And from a spectator, I think that's, and yes, I'm involved, but I'm not out there. We're all spectators at the end of the day to you guys. But I think that it's cool the way that some of the announcements are happening. But I'm excited for it. I already know what it is. I already know when it is. I just didn't know if we could talk
20th.
about it. 20th, yeah. Which is who?
I can't say.
I can tell you. I can tell you right now. Should I say it? I can't say it, right?
No.
You can't say.
Okay.
Right, we'll get mad at you.
I'm gonna type it. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so are you excited? How's preparation coming along?
Well, we finished our last day of scrims before the vacation yesterday. Honestly, we didn't play very much. I think everything on the timeline kept getting pushed back, and it was just really late, which was somewhat disappointing. I would prefer to have played more, I think, before this, but we're gonna come back January.
Yeah, it's third for us.
Yeah, something like that.
Do you fear more a team that has been together for a long time versus a team that was just put together, or do you think chemistry has a big?
I think chemistry, how well players play together, works a lot into it. Honestly, our first scrims, right? We were playing against a team. It was a team of, our first
mixed team.
Yeah, something like that. But it wasn't a new team. It was one of the teams from before that's had some new players come in, right? But they'd already been playing for a week and a half or something like that. So they kind of knew it was strong on the patch. They had already played together for about a week and a half. Our first scrims, we just got stomped pretty much. Two games, and then as the day went on, we started picking up on what they were doing and what champions to pick and draft. A lot of it I think was drafting too, but as far as a team, I don't know. This has been, maybe it's just a honeymoon phase with every team, because every team has that point where you're thinking, maybe we're gonna be sick, But if there's one thing that I really like about I guess the team we have is it's actually the team atmosphere. I've always, I played real sports. I was a swimmer, and then I played water polo in high school. So, I know I've been in team atmospheres, just sort of a bro atmosphere or something like that. You could just be, poke fun. And I think the biggest thing is just everyone's super honest with each other, which on my last teams, you had to deal with egos. You had to deal with, people thinking they're the shit, above or below any other player. You also had to deal with people thinking they're terrible, and you can never criticize them or something, because they're just gonna be really sad and get depressed or something, But on this team, I really liked everyone, even Thomas, right? Everyone has a lot of
your big ego, huh, Thomas?
No.
I think I'm the smallest. I have a big ego, but I never put it on the table when it's about work.
I mean, everyone's criticizing this guy because he's new coach or something like that. But everyone's just super honest with each other, not criticizing, just trying to say what they think might be better for the other person. Everyone's just trying to work together, I suppose, to just get better. And I think we made a good amount of progress in our 3 days of scrims. But honestly, we're not practicing that much before the season starts, so I don't know.
But you are spending a lot of time together to build that sort of chemistry.
Yeah.
That's super important in my opinion, and I think honesty within teammates is the most important thing.
I think so too.
Early on, what I used to tell my players that would come on, I would say, I'm nobody here is a mind reader. So if you have a problem with somebody, voice it out and then work it out. Okay, respect each other, but put feelings aside. And just say what you think, and just get over it. Get over that obstacle. So, I think that's good. I think honesty is one of the main steps to get to where, a team becomes a true team. I have your back, no matter what. We're gonna lose together. It's not no one's fault.
It's a really funny dynamic. Like Zig, for example. Zig's a little bit of a tilter, right?
Yeah.
So he'll just, if something bad happens in the game, he starts to get really, really frustrated and stuff. And it's just, I don't know. In one scrim, he was playing. Well, I can't say the champions, but he was just playing a really terrible matchup, and he was really tilted about it that he had to play through the game, because he just.
Why can't you say the?
Because it's just revealing the champions that we played or played against, something like that.
Look. I mean, and our audience is heavily first person shooter, and may not know a lot about League of Legends, but the fact that you can't even say what you're practicing because of the anti-strat towards this. Come in. So towards the end, it's my coffee. My anti-strat. Thanks, Sasha. The anti-strat that's happened. You guys didn't want any, right?
No, we're good.
So I'll call my boy. That's
good with
Hitch.
water.
It's just the Magic Man. But as I was saying, it's that serious, boys. Where like in Call of Duty, we don't scrim our S&D, search and destroys, but everything else gets played like that. My team hasn't been streaming the scrims, but the fact that you can't even say one character because that allows it is like super like cool to me. It's something that I've always appreciated about the seriousness of League of Legends, man.
That's just a culture. Actually, we could say it. It's just like the thing
is.
Don't say
it.
No,
it's disrespectful. Also,
yeah.
Why?
Like this is what I say. I was on Twitter yesterday, and like the French audience I say, I have scream and say against who. I say I could do it. I don't care, but maybe my opponent doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Because if you disclose something, it means that, like for instance, the matchup means that I will disclose something my opponents, and you don't want to reveal.
You're also disclosing what you think is a terrible matchup. I'm disclosing that Zig was upset about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want other teams to know that Zig was upset about this matchup.
He
They're
was
just going to be like, we're trying to get this, right?
Yeah.
No, but all I was trying to say is we were in the game. He was really tilted.
Yeah.
It's just the sort of thing where I'm just like, he's just sitting next to me. I like rub his back. I'm like, you okay, buddy? You chilling? You hanging in there, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've never. But it's like that with kind of everyone, you know. Everyone. It's just. I'm really interested to see if it stays like that, like the team atmosphere stays like that, regardless of win or lose. If everyone stays super honest, nobody, you know, harbors like tilt against each other or just gets upset at each other over time or something like that, you know.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. I mean, that's good. I want to point something out though, right? That I think we're close to like 30 minutes into this podcast, or like 40 minutes. And this has become like normal to me, right? I didn't even think that I have Captain America with some bling on and, you know, Einstein over here. Like, and don't act like you guys didn't feel like this was normal now, okay? Now that I pointed out, it's a little bit weirder. But now that the easiest thing, in my opinion, and this is something that, you know, I've had to deal with teams, and I'm talking about teammates that have like the largest egos in the world because of what we have helped, you know, create as OpTic, right? We create this larger than life personalities where, you know, millions of followers on Twitter, millions of subs on, you know, these egos. What I've done is something that has always like worked, I think, in my favor, is that I've accepted the way that people are, and I've tried to like mold everything else around them, not necessarily catering to the divas that are divas, but just encouraging the fact, like, if somebody has like this super like high ego, identify whether that's true ego or it's just like overconfidence, or not overconfidence, but confidence that will allow him to like really like explode in a situation where you need him to. And again, like you said, man, honesty in a honeymoon period can be extended forever if everybody's honest with each other. And you know, it some teams work, some teams don't. You fit, you don't, and it is what it is. As long as you're honest with yourself and with somebody else, I think that's where the true respect comes from. Mm-hmm. Confidence going into, I mean, knowing the matchup that you guys have, confidence going into that one.
I mean, as I said before, like we really didn't have very much practice, so and we're not going to have that much practice before the season starts. Like, we're going to have about a week probably together to play before, where, you know, some of these teams, just because of the way it's set up, like, I think partially it's the fact that you guys, you know, you weren't in League of Legends before, you didn't have, you know, a house in LA set up already, you didn't have all this stuff that the other teams that are previously there had. Some teams scrim, like on Equifox last year, for example, we started scrimming. We went to Korea November like 28th, and we were in Korea from then till December 22nd, I think, and then we went home. We scrimmed that whole time pretty much. When we went home, we reconvened January 2nd and scrimmed until, you know, the 18th. So we had a ton of practice before the season started. But I think maybe one thing that happened is we practiced so much for so long. Like, we just grinded hard for,
you burnt that,
4 or 5 months. Yeah, towards the end of the season, both seasons we were burnt.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was burnt. Everyone was mental boom. Like, we just, you know, everybody. You know, that attention to detail that I think is really important in League of Legends. Everyone just playing their game, you know, just trying to get through it. But also what I was gonna say is I don't think we have I was saying, like, you have to deal with egos and stuff. We actually don't have anybody with huge, like, you would probably, I think a lot of people would think, just because of like the way I look or talk or something like that. Like, I have a huge ego, right? But in a team setting,
you got
at least
perfect hair, you're tall, you're handsome, you're super, you're Captain America.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I get it a lot. People would think like I'm like cocky or something, but we actually don't have
Well, you're in good company here with me, brother. Right? So please,
he will
please
always be the biggest.
No,
I'm
just no, but I think people interact differently in real life and in team setting, right? And in team setting, we don't have any egos actually, which is really, really new to me. Like,
yes,
I'm waiting for somebody to just flame the crap out of me, like,
man, like.
But I don't know.
I can have an input on that because, like, you asked me how I made it with Remain the team, and that was the clearest point. Like, you won, you are a grinder, and you put your ego on the side.
Yeah.
Like, you can, even me, like, you can come to me and say, you know, coach, like, your draft, you know, the moment you are actually choosing and banning the champions.
Yeah.
Say your draft was like dog shit, and I think you just like threw the match in the trash bin.
Yeah.
And it's just your fault, and we failed in this match. And I say the only thing you have to say, if it's true, it's just sorry. You know, it's just because you're the coach. You actually earn, like, I think you earn authority if you accept when you were wrong.
Of course.
And like, this is something, but I see so many people that like so attached to their title in this industry, because like this whole industry is about recognition. You know, it's like having the audience recognize you for something you did.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's tried to be, and people behave like they are entitled. You know, they did everybody deserve them. They deserve something because they did something in the past.
Yeah.
And in league and in sports in general, it doesn't work. Like, it's a just fucking grind every single day.
Yeah.
And you have to win your match of the day and the match of the day of the next day and so on and so on. And so that was clear to Romain and me. Like, if you come with a big ego and say, I don't know, I don't want to play with this player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always keep the player and just drop the guy.
Yeah.
Because, like, you don't deserve to play with good players. You don't even deserve that. You don't deserve anything. Even though, like, our mid laner actually won lane against the best esport player of all time, who is Faker.
Mm-hmm.
He never speaks about that. Like, he doesn't even care. He says, yeah, we lost the match. And that's the mindset. Like, you don't want to get into a competition that lasts 8 months with someone who thinks he deserves to play with good players.
Yeah.
Because if so, it means that, like, he will never feel like he has good players because it's never enough. And whenever you lose, you just like throw your own mistakes to someone else, and you don't improve. So the team doesn't improve. Yeah. So you kind of stuck. Yeah. It's not even toxic. It's just it's toxic for the improvements. But sometimes there are just nice people, but they are entitled. So
I'm not talking about toxic in game or toxic, like an actual toxicity. I'm talking about that the sneaky toxicity that just eats away at you because you have resentment towards, you know, your coach who doesn't listen to you behind the closed doors and tells you to get you a better teammate, or you know, that sort of resentment that comes with dishonesty and not telling people what it is. That you're just assuming that they're gonna know what it is that you're thinking just because you're thinking it. Like, if you don't say it, no one's a mind reader. More importantly, nobody's. I'm not in the business of sitting there and be like, hey man, are you okay? Every single day, every second of the day, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, you know.
I think I just expect everyone to just be honest with each other, and if you have an issue or something, or you have a feedback, something like that, you just tell them. You know, I think. Dang, I lost my train of thought. I had something really good to say.
That happens in podcasts, man, because it's more of a conversation than anything else.
Yeah.
And your point may have been to a rant that I was in the middle of like 10 minutes ago, and you're like, that's why you interrupt at all times. It's okay to interrupt.
Yeah.
It'll come back to you now. As far two things, right? Romain. I hear you calling him Romain, but everybody else here calls him Romain.
You can say both.
I call him Romain. I like calling him Romain.
I call it Romain, but if I say
Romain.
Yeah, it's the French way of saying it.
Yeah, what does it mean? What's the translation to English?
It's Romain. Romain is Romain. It's the same. It's just the pronunciation.
Yeah. Well, I thought maybe it had a deeper meaning.
No.
There. So you confident with the way things are going?
Yeah, I'm confident. Like, I think the improvement depends on the structure and the schedule, a daily schedule of the players as well. Yeah. And right now we are playing in a PC bang, which doesn't help the player improve, and I can't watch their mistakes. We don't have we don't have a live place. It's very hard for me to give them feedback and have their feelings. Like, for instance, when one player is pissed, you need to sit down and talk about it for maybe half an hour, and we couldn't really do that. So I think I'm confident. I think we're running a little bit after the clock, because there is many mistakes that we need to get rid of and try to find our own pace. And these two big axes of development, we have to do it at the same time and in a few weeks, 1 or 2 weeks. So it will be kind of hard to do both. So we might have a rough start, which is not something I'm not against that. It's pretty good to have a rough start, but I think we would improve like quite fast within the season.
Yeah.
I think we have like a range of players that have a very, very like high ceiling, I think, for how well they can play. Like I've been on some teams where I have teammates and I'm like, I can't see this guy being great. Great, right? On our team I can see literally every player being great, but there's this huge range of how well we can play. Like I've shown performances where it's literally 10 out of 10. Like I played insanely well, right? And I was playing against a great player and I just destroyed him, right? I've also shown performances where I played insanely horribly. I almost solo lost the game for my team. So I think we have this like wide range of how good we can be, but I think if this whole like I don't know, sort of honesty like / brotherhood thing continues, we're regardless of where we start in the season, I'm confident that we're just going to keep getting better and better and better and like help improve each other.
Yeah.
And the only way that would ever get stopped is if there's some sort of, team issue, attitude problem. Because I don't know, it's very interesting actually talking to Tristan, Power of Evil. He's been on many teams, right? And the one thing he didn't tell us about how well he did on any teams, right? All he told us about was like his feeling. Like some teams that he was on, he's just like, man, this is too bad. We had great players. The egos were just too big. We couldn't work well together as a team. We lost all of our practices. Like, he's and the one thing that he brought up with every team was just how everyone meshed, like how everyone personality wise worked with each other and stuff like that. So I think I've just been thinking about that more, I guess. I've been thinking about
chemistry.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know if it's because I'm one of those people where it's only relevant how you play in the game, right? That's really all it is.
Yeah.
How you play in the game, how you guys all work together. You can hate each other, but if you play fantastic in the game, that's all that matters. You just need a W at the end of the day. So,
let me ask you this, and this is where the interruption comes, because I'm about to ask you. I wanted to ask you about 10 minutes ago. Can you, as a professional player, and then in your expert opinion, do you think that you can be the best athlete, physical or not, e-athlete, whatever you want to call yourselves? Do you think you can be your best athlete if you don't have fun playing the game?
No, impossible.
You have to love the game.
Yes.
It's not like a regular job where you're a stockbroker and you're making millions of dollars a month, and then you hate your job because you don't get to do what you do.
No, I think because you literally will not be able to sit through. I don't think any human being will be able to just sit through games and games and games and games of League of Legends constantly. The amount that you should play if you're really trying to be good, and the attention to detail that you need to put into the game, I think it's pretty hard if you don't. Maybe some people could do it. Maybe there's like a very small percentile, like.
But you think there are people that, because everybody that I've talked to, from every professional, they're like, no, impossible. But I refuse to believe that.
If you have like insanely strong mental willpower,
yeah,
maybe you could be a great player. But best of all time, probably not. No, I think you have to
love it.
It's like how he said, you have to have a commitment to sort of like perfection, I guess. Like when I play a game where I win, usually I have a list of mistakes or things that I wasn't happy with. Like it's not even necessarily a mistake. It's just like, oh, I had this time period where I didn't do as much as I probably could have. Like there's probably more I could have done here, or a different way or like a different place I could have gone, or a different play I could have made. Even though the one I made worked, maybe this one was better, right? Everyone's just constantly trying to make it literally perfect if you can. So
do you think?
I'd say you can be like a pro in anything if you at some point you have been passionate with. So I think now there is pro players that just are here and kind of cashing out. They don't have that much of a love for the game anymore, but being famous and being pro is good. And they don't hate the game. Like they don't hate it, but they don't love the game the way new players does. Yeah. And that's why they will end up washed up.
Yeah. Yeah. They just stay the same. You can tell. I know exactly who they are. You can just tell they're staying the same skill. And as people get better and better and better at the game, because people understand the game better and better over years. If you take a player's understanding last year and you compare it to a player's understanding of the game 4 years ago, the player's understanding last year is like he would have been faker 4 years ago because of how much more he understands about the game and how it works. But yeah, those players, there's definitely people that are just cashing out. They're just there for the money, which is fine. They're at their level, but yeah, I don't see them improving. You have to keep like the motivation. Like one person I see that definitely still loves the game, which is pretty cool to see. Like for example, Doublelift and like Bjergsen, when you just watch them play their games, they just enjoy playing the game. They enjoy the competition of it. They enjoy. Granted, they're streaming and they're making money, but you can just tell they really enjoy the game, and so they can continue improving over time, right? But there's definitely players who just they're as good as they are. They're going to stay as good as they are, and then once there's enough people that are better than them, they're not going to have a spot anymore.
Yeah, I think you were speaking about the stock market, for instance.
Yeah,
and I come from market finance. I used to work in this area. And there is something very different. Is stock market is established. You have process, you have operation, you have the defined products. So basically, right now, a trader, someone who works in stock market, can hate his job. He doesn't have to invent his industry. Like within esports, and specifically like on League of Legends, playing as a pro is a daily changing game, kind of. And you have to like invent the game. There is no one who tell you should play that way or that way. So whenever someone try to find a new way to play it, if you don't adapt, you just get killed. Like it's absolute Darwinism. So that's why you can't hate your job and invent your job on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Like it's too hard. It's not because in stock market you can just do your daily operation. You know how it's done. You do whatever someone else does, and you get your pay. Your paycheck at the end of the month. And you get your small or big bonuses depending on the luck you have within the year. Like in League of Legends, it's like you have to invent the job market, the stock market. So you would more be like the people that were on the stock market during the 60s and the 70s that were actually inventing an industry. And trust me, these people were absolutely passionate about finance because they were actually building the thing. So right now, this generation of players are building all the basics on how you play competitively League of Legends, which is more like chess. And it's like chess but way more complicated, so you can't hate like defining a chess game. That's too hard for a human brain, I think.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, any closing comments, suggestions for people that have never watched League of Legends and are now interested in watching it?
I have something, and that's perfect because we don't have much time. We went to MLG Dallas, and I really appreciate this small little game with like small scenes and so on. It reminds me of League of Legends 4 or 5 years ago. It's really good. It's really pleasant. So yeah, it's pretty cool. You have a cool game, Hector. I wanted to say that, but you
were roasting. I thought you were actually giving us a thank you.
I know you can't elaborate on top of that because you're running after the clock. Yeah, so that's perfect. I waited for the last moment of the podcast.
All right. Well, okay, fine. Let's talk about that. What was your experience like? Your true experience.
Like, okay, you want my honest version?
Yeah, please.
Okay. I really hate Call of Duty, and I really thought it was just a bad game. And the last version, I liked it, and I liked watching it. And when the player were actually training solo, I watched the match against Splice. So I can't say I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Therefore, like I still think, as long as you won't play with keyboard and mice, it will be an ape game. Because
what's crazy is that I'm the opposite. I think that if you play with a keyboard and mouse, that's some rookie ass shit. Personally,
you aim so bad. You aim so bad, man. You aim so bad.
That's awesome. Have you ever touched any other game besides League of Legends? What other games have you played?
I played, like, if you're talking about console, I played Halo growing up.
Did you?
Halo is fun. Not like multiplayer, just played like the campaigns, but mostly I've just been a PC gamer. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as him. I don't know. Yeah, you have to be. I think they're just very different type of people, console gamers and PC gamers.
Yeah.
I think it's
it's just like anything else, right? There's like,
but production was really good.
Yeah, production. Yeah, MLG kills it, man. MLG murders it. That's really cool. So, again, anything that you guys want to tell the new people that are going to be following you guys?
See you in January.
Look, listen, the green wall sticks by our side, win or lose. Okay, so don't feel super pressured, but we love it when you guys win. That just goes without saying. We'll be there in your sorrow. We'll be there.
I think I would just say, like, trust me. Last year I would never have predicted what ended up happening in our season or in my season. Right, I never thought for a minute that it was going to happen. So this year I'm just going into it, and I think everyone else on the team is going into it. We're just gonna try our best to play as well as we can, and I don't know, just keep improving. I think regardless of how our season goes at the beginning, if we stomp, if we lose, I think our team's gonna continue getting better over time, unless there's some sort of mental boom that happens. And
at that point, it's his fault because he's the coach.
Yeah, but I feel like the atmosphere that we have is good enough that, like, we would call out somebody that's mental booming or some problem like that. And if we can keep that, then we're going to keep getting a lot better. Whereas like other teams that I was like, I don't know, Echo Fox didn't really get better at any point. I think we were just kind of as good as we were at the beginning of both seasons, and we just stayed that good, and other teams, surpassed us.
Yeah,
So,
as it happens.
So yeah, I don't know. Regardless of what happens, I think we're just gonna work hard and try to.
All right. Well, you look amazing in that. The chains really did it for you.
Yeah.
Those chains are actually our mascot. We have a mascot, Alan, the alien.
Mm-hmm.
Those are his chains. He's a hip hop alien guy.
Nice.
As usual, man. You look very clever.
I fed it.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for episode number 37 of the OpTic podcast, everybody. Hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, remember to leave a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. Hello, everybody out there on the Reddit, League of Legends threads. Why is it called League of Salt?
God, dude, get out. I can't. No, all right, never mind.
All right, there we go. Well, we'll end on that. We'll tell me offline what you mean. Hitch, hit him with the music.